The single biggest talking point I've been seeing commented on my videos are about whether or not to use shield tackle or guard dash. Naming no names, I've seen some YouTube videos and some people erroneously claiming things like guard dash is only useful for speedrunning, or shield tackle is only good for casuals. So I've decided to give it a proper look. We'll view them side by side, make some comparisons, and then I'll leave you lot to draw your own conclusion, and hopefully we'll find a new trick or two. Let's briefly cover the basics and bring everyone to the same place. They're switch skills that are opposite each other, so you can only have one equipped at a time. Guard dash is the natural one, the one that you get at the beginning, and shield tackle will be unlocked much later on, I think midway through G rank. You activate the move by using the guard and low thrust buttons together. Both switch skills will give you a temporary increase to your guarding level, so it'll be effectively +2 to your guard skill while the moves are active. Both can be comboed from or into from any attack and can be used to create infinite attack combos. Guard dash itself is just guarding while moving, but has access to a bunch of cool follow-ups, while shield tackle is guard dash combined with shield attack, which is one of its follow-up options. Right, let's talk utility. They both have things that they do better than each other, so I will go over the useful stuff that each skill does. Shield tackle is pretty fun. It feels short and snappy, and that's because the move is pretty fast. Its duration is about as long as any of your standard pokes, so just shy of a second. And it being so fast helps the, I think, main value of shield tackle, in that you can chain your combos together while slowly racking up stun value and work towards a KO. Now, in my testing, the extra KO damage you get from shield tackle isn't normally enough to get you an extra KO before the monster dies, assuming that you're using shield charge as well, which I would strongly recommend, because that's where most of your KO damage comes from. But if your hunts are taking longer than mine, or you end up having a higher proportion of tackles over the hunt, if you're just really focusing on tackling the monster, then you might be able to squeeze an extra KO in. And shield tackle also gives you the option of using the regular lance charge while still having a method of KOing the monster, although technically guard dash does that too. Another key bit of utility is that shield tackle will move your shield wherever your analog stick is angled when you use the attack. And unlike guard dash, there is no end lag to attacks that you've already made that might mess this up. You can attack, and then as soon as you can shield tackle, you can re-angle yourself with it. And that makes it quite useful for tall monsters that really like to curl around you as the fight goes on. I think the three culprits that I find useful, shield tackle useful for, are Azurus, Lagombi, Gosharag, basically the fanged beasts. We've also got a rather underappreciated part of shield tackle, in that it doesn't use stamina unless you guard an attack. I've seen some people suggest that it allows Lance to use maximum might, but considering you're more likely to be shield tackling into a monster's attack than you are not to be, on top of all the other ways that you end up using stamina, charging, back hopping, I don't think you're going to stay at maximum stamina long enough for maximum might to be a particularly valuable skill. And finally, it resets to neutral, meaning that you can insta-block more or less immediately after the shield tackle is finished, which is a blessing and a curse, as it leaves you ready for a very strong damage option if you can insta-block and then cross-slash, but it also leaves you vulnerable to getting hit if it's a multi-hit attack or if you're encountering attack that has many different hitboxes within it. On the other hand, we have Guard Dash. It's got loads of movement options and also covers about twice the distance that Shield Tackle does, and that makes it better at hugging monsters' weak spots while the monster wiggles about. If you're at neutral, basically if you've not inputted a button in the last half second, then Guard Dash acts exactly like Shield Tackle, except that you don't do damage, and instead you gain access to 2 unique follow-up moves that makes up for the loss. If you're not at neutral, basically you've dodged or attacked in the last half second, then instead of Guard Dashing like Shield Tackle, Guard Dash will act more like a guarded back hop, and depending on where you were inputting it, you can do this in any of the 4 cardinal directions, and this is so beneficial at helping you stay aggressive. There are loads of monsters that have attacks that like to push past you during the attack animation. Guard Dash allows you to safely hop backwards, and in most cases through the attack, so that you can maintain positioning and, more importantly, aggression on that weak spot without turning your guard and leaving you exposed. Its larger variety of movement options aren't the only reason why you might want to use Guard Dash. Guard Dash also gives you access to Leaping Thrust. So, moving on to the biggest reason why you'd want to use Guard Dash, it combos into Leaping Thrust. Leaping Thrust has been significantly buffed and is one of Lance's strongest damage options at the moment. Guard Dash is required to do the Charged Wide Sweep, Guard Dash, Leaping Thrust, Charge Wide Sweep, and Repeat combo, which is the best bread and butter combo that Lance has access to. So, not using Guard Dash is an effective 10% damage loss on the meta weapon at the moment. And it's not just a really high damage option either, it's also really safe. To be clear here, Leaping Thrust's DPS isn't calculated just during the thrust part, but over the Guard Dash and then thrust. So a Leaping Thrust combo's DPS is the thrust, followed by the Guard Dash backwards, and then into the thrust again. So despite having a very high DPS over this loop, you're also in a guarded state for a really significant amount of time. It's very safe. And we're not even finished. Guard Dash into Leaping Thrust is also a really, really good mid-range gap closer. The distance you move during the combo shouldn't be underestimated. It allows you to keep doing damage in ways that you simply wouldn't be able to otherwise if you weren't able to use the combo. Moving on from Leaping Thrust, Guard Dash also gives you a really safe way to retreat backwards quickly using back hop, large back hop, Guard Dash, back hop, large back hop, and repeat. Unfortunately, it's not quite as powerful in Sunbreak as it used to be because we have access to Sheathing Retreat, but the Guard Dash technique is still useful if you've run out of wire bugs or you're the madman that wants to use Twin Vine. So we've talked about the Leaping Thrust follow-up. The other follow-up to Guard Dash, Shield Attack, allows you to gain back access to KO damage, albeit in a worse way. It's only got 15 motion values rather than 20, so you'll be doing less physical damage, but you'll be doing the same amount of KO power. The stun power will be the same. Shield attack should also not be underestimated. It's arguably the better option if you want to script your KOs. In short, KOs are good, but a KO that prevents the monster from leaving the area, or a KO that happens when your whole team is ready and just waiting for a big old beat up, is a lot better than a KO that just happens randomly, or worse, a KO that interrupts another knockdown. So being able to choose when, or rather when not to do KO damage is somewhat more preferred. That said, this is a rather advanced technique, so don't worry too much about it if you're learning the weapon. Summing up the differences between the two, Shield Tackle trades complexity and movement options for ease of use and a quick access to its ability to stun. Guard Dash, on the other hand, has more options and requires a certain level of practice to make full use of those options, but it also unlocks significantly stronger options for you as a lance user. The things that should make you consider using Shield Tackle are that you can use it to turn around really quickly, it's the better option for dealing stun damage, and that it can reset to neutral rather than to guard. And on the flip side, the things that should make you consider using Guard Dash are it covers more distance, it has more options in how you can maneuver, it gives you access to more advanced techniques and options, and that it also gives you access to Leaping Thrust for a significant damage increase. I'm going to add some final thoughts here. These are more opinion-based, so here's your fair warning. Firstly, I want to preempt potential comments about Shield Tackle and its KO potential. In my testing, I used the Lance to kill monsters as efficiently as possible, not to get as many KOs as possible. It's far from impossible to get more than one KO with just shield charge, let alone Shield Tackle. But you're trading so much damage potential by using Shield Tackle to such a large degree in proportion to your other moves that the benefits of a knockdown are lost in the time that it takes to create the knockdown. This also assumes that lots of knockdowns are good for the Lance. I've not done any testing for this, but I think that there is some argument that knockdowns, or at least lots and lots of knockdowns, aren't actually that great when you're using the Lance. Maybe I'll explore this further. Comment if you're interested. Secondly, for the sake of fair comparison, you aren't completely locked out of Leaping Thrust when you use Shield Tackle, because you can go into Power Guard and then use Leaping Thrust from there, but the extra time it takes to use Leaping Thrust via Power Guard makes it significantly less valuable as a mid-range gap closer, and you can't combo it efficiently, so it's not brilliant as a bread and butter combo. It's, technically it's there, but it's not as useful. And thirdly, I do this largely from a single player perspective. There might be a case to be made that Shield Tackle has more value in multiplayer because the monster will move erratically when chasing after other players. But again, I've not done testing. You might find that the shorter range of Shield Tackle actually makes it less useful in multiplayer, as you'll have a difficult time catching up. And that's it. I'd love to see your thoughts in the comments. What do you guys prefer? Are there things that I've missed about the two Switch skills that you'd like mentioned? As I'm writing this, I don't know the release date of the title update, but my guess is it's pretty soon. By the time that this video is actually posted, I think there's a very reasonable chance that the title update will already be live. If that's the case, what would you guys like to see in the next couple of videos? What should I focus on? And finally, please support me by subscribing if you want to see more. If you like the video, why not like the video? And most importantly, thanks for watching.